at all these leftist hand-wringers out there, the think tank liberal scholars wringing their hands. Oh, I wish somebody had spent more time warning the president about the day after and the day after the day after, because the president reacted here very, very recklessly, and I don't think he had any idea of what the blowback would be. These people, folks, if we ever end up with these people having absolute control and power over this country, they are going to give it away. They're going to give it away under the premise that America deserves to be chopped down hugely in size. I mean, it's not hard to understand this at all. The concept that America is the good guys, they just don't believe it. And that attitude and that view has been taught to way too many people now, starting at the earliest ages, the earliest levels of formal education. And it stinks. It is pathetic. I also have a challenge here. We don't, 3 hours goes by very quickly. And I've got a soundbite roster here of over 40 sound bites, and the first 15 are about me. Now, I don't like to make this program about me, but many of these sound bites were about me during the break. And, of course, I came in for lots and lots of criticism, improperly and unfairly influencing the president with secret lunch meetings that were not secret. Maligned and impugned by Chuck Todd, a blithering political idiot, on NBC News. And then we have all of the news that's been made in addition to stuff dealing with me. So it's going to be a challenge to get it all in. We also have, exactly 2 hours from now, the president himself will be here. President Trump at 2:33 Eastern time this afternoon, barring something happening between now and then that would require him to have to cancel because his attention's needed elsewhere. So that is all coming up. Grab some of these sound bites. I want you, let's do portray 18, 19, and 20, just to give a flavor to the things I mentioned in the opening two monologues. Here's David Petraeus yesterday on Face the Nation talking about the death of Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian Quds Force commander. Here's what he said.
It's impossible to overstate the significance of the attack that takes out Qasem Soleimani and the number 2 militia leader in Iraq as well, who also never dared to set foot in Iraq during the surge after we missed him and he escaped. So this is bigger than bin Laden. It's bigger than Baghdadi.
Bigger than bin Laden, bigger than Baghdadi. Now, isn't it interesting that when we went out, we got bin Laden. There was no liberal hand-wringing from the left and from all of their think tank scholars. Gee, I wish somebody had told President Obama about the day after and the day after the day after. I'm so worried about the destabilizing effects of taking out bin Laden. None of that. There was no concern whatsoever. There was nothing but praise. And we got the pictures of Hillary Clinton and Obama sitting in a situation room in their official military jackets, watching the operation take place. And we were told how brilliant they are and how brave they are, how courageous how they stuck to it. They finally tracked down bin Laden, and bin Laden was now, room temperature. Now, this happens, and of course, it's predictable. You want all this talk about politics ending at the water's edge. Politics ending at the water's edge. Joe Lieberman has a piece in the Wall Street Journal reminding Democrats, and what the hell are you doing? You're siding with enemies of this country. And there's nothing new about that. This is why I'm grateful Twitter exists today. There's nothing new about today's left and the Democrat Party siding with America's enemies, particularly with Donald Trump. But they did it when Bush was in the White House as well. You remember when Bush was running the war on terror and the Iraqi war? They were out talking about the atrocities being committed by the American Marines. Abu Ghraib and Haditha. And it was horrible. These people just couldn't wait to savage the United States and the United States military. They are so misreading the situation, and Biden's out making an abject fool of himself. You know what he said before this even happened? Biden goes into, I guess it was Western Pennsylvania, some coal mining region, which he admits, like Obama, that he's going to destroy, all to save the planet. And he says to these people, look, if you can go 200 feet down in a mine and bring back some of this ugly coal stuff, and for crying out loud, you can learn to code, for God's sake. You notice Biden always ends statements like, for God's sake, God this, God that. Oh, my God. God figures in everything Biden says, either at the beginning or end of a sentence. Learn to code? That's his solution to the miners? These guys, I'm telling you, have no idea. The Democrats have no idea the damage they're doing to themselves in the very areas that Trump won in 2016. They are so insistent that Democrat voters adopt the same anti-American views that they hold as a way of getting elected president. I don't care what we have not reached the point in America yet where a majority of the voters hates their country and wants to elect people who think and feel the same way. And yet that's what the Democrats are doing. Why? Very simple. Because they think in the day they do win, they want that mandate. They want to be elected on the premise that America's got problems, big problems. America's problems are America's fault. America's problems are because of America, and they want the mandate to be able to deal with the country on that basis. And they're creating a growing base of people filled with hate for any number of things, including for their own country. We put together a montage of Democrats and the drive-by media siding with Iran over Trump from last Thursday and Friday.
These folks, proud Persians, what we have done here is unleash the tiger.
This escalatory cycle right now is a direct result of President Trump.
A very dangerous and escalatory moment.
Very, very dangerous.
How dangerous of an escalation.
Escalation to war. It's very dangerous. It makes no sense.
Big escalation. How do we get off the escalation ramp?
There will be terrible, terrible reprisals.
Escalate against Iran. So they started lashing out.
A reckless act that could lead to dangerous reprisals.
This administration has a massive credibility gap because the president lies so much.
This was the pride of Islam, and we have to avenge his death.
All American citizens are now walking prime targets.
There will be dead Americans, dead civilian Americans as a result.
This act of war without congressional authorization.
This is an act of war. That is why past presidents have stopped short of it.
All right, now I don't want to give you the names of the people there. It doesn't matter. You can guess them yourselves. Have you noticed whenever United States of America takes proactive action to defend itself or takes action to punish those who have committed atrocities against us, notice the reaction. Oh my God, this is escalation. Oh my God, we're all in danger. Oh my God. These are the appeasers. These are the people that will let atrocities continue. These are the people that will allow beheadings and terrorist acts to continue against Americans on the basis that reacting to it is somehow escalating things. Escalating. This guy blew up an oil depot in Saudi Arabia. Happens to be one of our allies. This guy has been responsible. I have a list of his atrocities I'll share with you as the program unfolds. This guy has had a personal hand in the death of over 600 American soldiers, conducting IED attacks, ordering them, structuring them in Iraq and in Afghanistan, as long as we have been in both places. He's not innocent. He wasn't minding his own business one day and Donald Trump decided to take him out. This guy asked for it. In the days of Obama, he'd get away with it. In the days of Bush, he might not have gotten away with it. What I found interesting, one of these voices here was Max Boot. Max Boot is part of the never-Trumper crowd that wants us in all of these places conducting military operations. But just like the rest of the never-Trumpers, here comes Trump doing what these people advocate, and they can't even support that. They've got to sit here and talk about how Trump has a credibility gap because he lies so much. But if you let these people run things, there will never be any serious defense of Americans or American interests, because they believe to do so is to escalate. And it's all, you remember, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an analogy. The first Gulf War with Saddam to liberate Kuwait. George H.W. Bush was the president. I will never forget Sam Donaldson on ABC News warning Americans that the end was near, that we had no business conducting a desert war because we were not qualified. We didn't know how to win, how to conduct a desert war. Saddam, that's his lair. That's his natural habitat. Saddam was going to wipe us out. Sam Donaldson did a feature on the number of body bags that would be needed. The war was over in 18 hours, with the vaunted desert rat army of Saddam Hussein surrendering and waving the white flag in a matter of 6 hours. And so these people haven't changed. The U.S. is not able to win. All we're doing is escalating, and the bad guys are far superior. And the bad guys are far smarter. And the bad guys are far more capable. And the bad guys are not going to take this. The bad guy. We have destroyed a fundamental war-making element of the Iranian government by taking this guy out. You're not going to see it anywhere in the news, but Iran has been leveled, in a sense, here strategically with the assuming of room temperature of Qasem Soleimani. Got to take a brief time out. Sit tight. We'll be back with much more after this.
Glad to see you're starting the new year right with Rush on the EIB Network.
Rush Limbaugh on the Voice of New York.